All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. I do see the chat is working. We have Bana Layman, good morning, and Clank. Susan Carberg, hello, Sticks, good morning, Clankers. Saltine76, make the crack house the White House again. Trump 2024 and Cam 2425 IA. Weekend stream Clankdom. Yes, indeed. We have a weekend stream to make up for yesterday. Of course, I didn't stream on Friday. There were too many scheduled appointments. I didn't have time to do so. Let's make sure we're live on Rumble. I think we are. Yes, indeed. We are live on Rumble and on YouTube and on Twitter, of course. Hello, Twitter denizens. I'm only doing this so that I get my slice of the pie on Twitter as far as the ad revenue goes. Actually, I don't know how exactly to set that up, to be clear. I've applied for the ability to have subscriptions, although basically it's like, you pay $1 a month and you get nothing from it. So set it up on the low end because I'm not interested in Twitter subscriptions, just like I don't have subscriptions open on YouTube for like paid subscriptions. And on Rumble, it's okay. But basically, I guess if you sign up for this program, you get a share of ad revenue based on the impressions that you make. And I have over 8 million in a monthly period. So I think that I would actually get fairly good money for that. So we'll see what happens. If Elon Musk wants to give me a little bit of a bonus every month, I see no problem with that. I'm a good capitalist. Anyway, we'll be talking about all sorts of stuff today. Joe Biden going crazy again, nibbling a young child in Finland, actually. As well as his fundraising flop. We'll be going into the nitty-gritty of the mathematics behind that one because it's being hailed as Joe Biden's great fundraising success. It's not really a success. It's anything but. Also, Threads, the Twitter competitor, it was going to kill Twitter. It's not going to kill Twitter. As predicted, it is already dying. The interest has worn off. It's boring and robotic, just like Mark Zuckerberg. And so nobody gives a fucking shit about it. And we talking about more as well. I think we have the Tucker Carlson event. I'll be talking about the different candidates and how they failed or succeeded because, there were 6 of them, I think, there in total. I didn't get to listen to Nikki Haley, but nobody fucking cares because she's an also ran. Also, Chris Christie, he's a very serious candidate. Trump's unprecedented election pitch. This is by ABC News, but it is apt. It's a legacy media hit piece, but technically speaking, it actually promotes him, which I thought was very, very funny. And also whether Trump and Biden should bother debating. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Let's make sure everything's working here. I realize since it's a Saturday morning, a lot of people are passed out currently. They got drunk on Friday, and so they're still hungover. That's okay. I do not expect as many people to tune in on a Saturday stream, unless I'm willing to stay up late at night and go at like 7 p.m. my time. Hint, I'm not willing to go at 7 p.m. my time. The baby will be asleep, so I do not have that option. Line in the sand. Good afternoon from Namibia. Interesting. I don't know that I've ever had a Namibian person watching my material before. Namibia, I think, is pretty cool, actually. Ryuji Sakamoto. I think the only viable running mate for Trump is Ramaswamy. Anyone else will just be another Mike Pence. I'll be talking about that. Ramaswamy did do well at the Tucker Carlson event, better than any of the other people that were there. As far as running mates, he is on the short list, I think, at this time. Trump is more likely to choose somebody outside of the field. Mike Pence would be an indicator of this. Of course, he chose somebody who was not actually in the running in 2016, who basically nobody had ever even fucking heard of before as his running mate. That sort of out of the blue sort of VP nominee does have benefits, although it also has detriments. We'll wait and see what he does. Vivek Ramaswamy. We'll be talking about him. Anyway, we'll get into the first news. The first piece of news, link in the description. It's archived, but you can just copy out the saved from on archive.today and look at the live version. Biden was in Finland, and he did a funny thing. He decided to do nibbly thing to someone's baby, and the baby is clearly upset, and it's like, You know, if the baby just gets like tickly and stuff, goes hee hee or ha ha or something, it's not going to be news. When the baby is visibly upset by you because you're an old creepy man and you're doing like nibbly thing to the baby, that's not necessarily the greatest look. This is from Breaking 911. Watch President Biden nibbles at young child in Finland. Now, here's my thoughts. Doing nibbly thing, like, you know, you're doing tickly nibbles to a child. If it's your own child, it's fine. I do that to my daughter. You know, I'll go in and go on her head, and she gets like hee hee hee, and she finds it funny. And then she tigers around on the floor, and when she walks by, I say, I'm going to get you. And, you know, you tickle their hand or their foot or something like that on the way by, and they roar with laughter. They find it hilarious. When you are a stranger, regardless of whether you're a politician, that's not the time to nibble someone's baby. If you want to give the baby a kiss on the head, like the traditional kiss the baby sort of politician stuff, while it's obtuse and while it's like, okay, you know, the politicians do this all the time, at the very least, it can't be conceived of as weird. It can't be conceived of as perverted. The problem is that Joe Biden habitually sniffs and touches and shit with young children. And so when you do this, you know, you're on a stopover in Finland after you were in, was it Latvia or Lithuania? I can't remember which one, to do the NATO thing. And, you know, you stop on the tarmac to pose for the cameras, and you're doing nibbly thing with other people's babies. It just looks weird, especially when you're an 81-year-old man. It looks wrong. And I would frame this in the context, of course, Joe Biden will never do nibbly thing, tickly toes or anything like that with his 7th grandchild because he doesn't recognize her existence. She's, I think, 4 at this point. Hunter Biden's illegitimate. I don't like using that term, but it's the colloquial illegitimate in name daughter that Hunter Biden just had to settle with. Apparently, Hunter is going to give some artwork to his illegitimate daughter. That is the settlement involved. Of course, he had his child support payments reduced, but then as part of that settlement, while they're not going to be able to use the Biden surname for the daughter, they will get some of Hunter's artwork for what very, very little it's worth. I'm sure that she will treasure those forever. Hey, here's my daddy who has nothing to do with me, from my grandfather who also has nothing to do with me. The rest of the family treats me like I don't exist. Imagine that this girl runs for office at some point as like a Republican and runs on the platform of, well, you know, my Democratic grandfather was a piece of shit, an asshole. He was a deadbeat grandfather. My dad was a deadbeat druggie. And so I'm here to try to, you know, make things right, try to help people. I think that she could have a career in politics if she plays her cards right. Of course, she's only 4. So, you know, whatever happens, we will give her a pass. This is a little kid. Doesn't deserve to be dragged into politics anyway. But when Joe Biden goes abroad and he starts, you know, doing the nibbly tickly thing with somebody else's kid, like I'll do that with my daughter, but I would never think to do that with somebody else's kid. Like maybe if I was very familiar with the family or something like that, like obviously, you know, the kid likes me or something, you know, we have a bond, you know, babysitter or whatever, maybe. But certainly not out of the blue on the tarmac, meeting somebody for the first time. Is that really the time to do that sort of thing? That's sort of reserved for your own kids or maybe grandkids or something like that. You know, you're just sort of teasing them, you're making them laugh. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing creepy about that. When you do it to somebody else's kid, it's like, it is kind of like when the politicians are kissing the baby, and it just comes off wrong. It just comes off as fucking weird. Like, you know, and some of these people don't even have kids, but they pretend to like kids for the cameras. And that's basically what they're about. A bunch of weirdos. I don't see Rand Paul doing that. Mishikari Rus, a Saturday stream is this Christmas in July. Lol. They don't have Christmas in July here, and it makes me sad. I remember back in the United States, especially back in like the 2000s, they would always have the old Christmas shows, like Year Without a Santa Claus, Rudolph Shiny New Year, all that good campy stuff from like, you know, Christmas time. They would have it on TV, rerun after rerun after rerun in July. And the idea was, okay, you know, it's hot out, it's sunny and stuff, and you're watching stuff that has snow in it and stuff like that. They don't have that here. There is no Christmas in July. And I think that that's rather sad. I want to see fucking Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman. Shit. Exestacy, Sticks, I think you have a smudge to the left side of your camera lens. It's above the stick man and at the base of the orchid. Clank on. I think you may be right. I'll correct that before I make my videos tomorrow. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think you are right. Either that or it's a ghost or something. Who knows? Sebastian Monroe, hooray for a super fragilistically, suspendously satisfying special saucy Saturday stick stream with cinnamon sprinkles. The Joker, why are the, can I say that? Why are Jews more pacifist than Christians when it should be the reverse? Has to do with numeric superiority, I think. The Patriot Cairo, Biden could smell the adrenochrome, couldn't resist. Yeah, there's something wrong with him. He's fucking nuts. This is not the sort of thing that a normal person does to somebody else's child. If it is your own child, okay, it's understood. You're just teasing him. You're doing tickly thing or something. It's like I wouldn't walk up to someone else's kid in the Jumbo. I'm at the grocery store. I'll tickle my daughter's feet. Nobody cares, of course. She finds it hilarious. I'm not going to walk up to somebody else's kid and do that. What the fuck? Just because you're a politician doesn't mean normal etiquette doesn't apply. Oh, because the mom is one of your voters, potentially, or just some Finnish woman who happens to be there because she wants cluster munitions sent to Ukraine, you start doing nibbly neck on her child. That's a little bit weird. Bayonne 201, good morning from Stowe, Vermont. Abigail Johnson has a secret bunker in Waterbury that can only be accessed by ATV or snow machine. Hopefully it flooded. I'll be mucking out homes there on Monday. Clank. Interesting. The Grizzly 617, how likely is it that the Biden economy crashes before 24? Fairly likely. Or is it more likely conditions continue at their current economic pace towards the 2024 election? All signs point to there being problems over the coming roughly 6 months. I don't think that anyone really denies that, unless they're a Krugman, and he's always wrong. So, you know, if Krugman says everything's fine, you should probably be preparing for a recession. The Joker, but is it okay to sniff your kids repeatedly? No, sniffy thing can be funny as well, but not for the reasons that Joe Biden appears to engage in sniffy thing. He doesn't do sniffy thing. He doesn't go like sniff, sniff, sniff. You know, again, you're teasing your kid. His is more like, I can smell you. And it's just creepy. It's like watching a lick or something like that. He's like a necromancer. He's trying to absorb their life fluid or something. Next news story, tied in with Joe Biden, of course. Breaking. This is from Christy Jackson on Twitter. Christy Jackson saying, breaking, POTUS, Joe Biden just blew the 2024 field away, announcing he's raised $72 million in the second quarter. That is pretty big. More than doubling the amount Trump raised in the same period. Nearly 400,000 individual donors. 97% of donations under $200. Average grassroots contribution, $39. Let me stop you there and do a little bit of math because I calculated it earlier. If you multiply 39 by 400,000, what do you get? Is it 72 million? No. Is it 50 million? Nope. Is it 25? Nah. It's about $15.5 million, roughly. Give or take some, of course. This is the average that they're working with. That means that most of his money came from big donors. Most of his money on hand came from corporations, big donors giving thousands of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. That's where most of his funding is coming from. When they say 97% of donations were under $200, they are using lies, damn lies, and statistics. They're saying that the number of donors was under that threshold. It doesn't talk about the actual total donated by them. At a maximum, given the average contribution, which they themselves self-state, a massive majority of all of the money that Biden has on hand, nearly $60 million in total, much more than the 15.6 that came from the grassroots, is coming from bigger donors. It's coming from people who are wealthy. It's coming from corporations. It's coming from bureaucrats that are well-connected, things like that. That's number one. Number two, you will note that if you match up the re-election bid contributions for Q2 at the same time for Obama, you end up with Biden coming in about $10 million short. So is this actually the blowout, the blockbuster that Biden's people are talking about? No, it's not a blockbuster. It's not a blowout. It's far short of what Trump had during his re-election bid. It's far short of what Obama had. I think it's also short of what Bush had in his reelection bid. So Biden is a loser. He's actually got considerably less money than a reelection bid typically gains. Now, Trump, of course, was facing off against a weird field. So we'll give him that. That's number one. Obama was facing off against Romney. W was facing off against Kerry at the time. And Kerry was not exactly the most charismatic person in the world, but they still managed to best this. And this is adjusted for inflation. There's no reason why you shouldn't have considerably more after inflating the currency by a considerable margin. But somehow Joe Biden is making less than his predecessor and his predecessor's predecessor and his predecessor's predecessor's predecessor with regards to inflation, even worse, number one. And number two, bragging about the grassroots donations when a massive majority of that money comes from big donors. So this is actually a fundraising flop. It's being held up as though it's some sort of win. Well, he more than doubled the amount that Trump raised. Well, see, here's the thing. Joe Biden is running against two people. Neither of them are viable. Donald Trump is running against a field that now contains almost a dozen people. Yeah, damn straight, of course, he's going to raise less money. He's got more opponents in a field, which is primarily you're getting your money from partisan voters, not from outside groups. And Donald Trump doesn't have the big corporations backing him like Biden does to the tune of $60 million. No shit. I'm so surprised that Trump has less money in the bank. By the way, if raising money alone were the indicator of who wins the election, then Ron DeSantis right now should be crushing it. Ron DeSantis, until the last quarter, was well ahead of Donald Trump in fundraising. Ron DeSantis has slipped behind him now, but at first, he was absolutely ahead of Donald Trump. He raised an enormous amount of money right off the bat. He had all the money in the world to put out ads, et cetera, to target especially Iowa and New Hampshire. We'll get into that later. And he failed. Ron DeSantis at this point is a failed candidate. He probably doesn't have any viability anymore, and I think will slip down further. I think that the people that are basically, I like Trump's policies, but I don't like Trump, are going to flock to Vivek Ramaswamy, especially after his performance the other night. We'll be talking about that as well. So yeah, Joe Biden got the vast majority of all of his money from a handful of wealthy donors and from corporations. But he's the real grassroots candidate. Let's see. Sparky, Biden's behavior is also a lack of self-awareness and situational awareness, even for one's own children, not the time nor the place. Yeah, I mean, if I were running for office, I'm not going to wander over and fucking sniff somebody's kid. That's just creepy. You know, you can do that with your own, I wouldn't tickle them either. Like, you can tickle your own kid or something like that. That's perfectly fine. You're playing around on the floor with, she's, my daughter's favorite game is she's got these fake carrots, and it's got like a little wooden thing, and you can, put the carrots in, and it works on fine motor skills. And, she'll sit there and she'll play with the carrots. And we watch cooking shows a lot, actually, or documentaries and stuff like that. And although she's a little bit young for Jacques Cousteau, I'll be integrating her with Jacques Cousteau and fishy knowledge over the next couple of months. I can't wait because it's just a great time. It's fun for the whole family. Jacques Cousteau is the man, by the way, although he did use TNT on coral reefs a couple of times. It's okay if you're playing around with your own kid and you're holding them up, you're roughhousing a little, that's perfectly fine. But you don't do that with somebody else's kid. Not unless if the kid is not into it, and this kid clearly was a fucking afraid of Joe Biden, even less so. Elizabeth's philosophy. Honey, please stop wearing a diaper around the house and telling the neighbors you're a baby again. It's very embarrassing. I like my fake wife on here. You are a good troll. Captain Overkill. Joe Biden doesn't even have the decency to clean up after his own cocaine. Kennedy, Nixon, and Clinton did. Clank, homies. Clinton was more into weed, and Nixon was more into being cucked by his wife, actually. I learned about this when I studied this in college. One thing Nixon was known to occasionally have to do was drive his wife around while she was making out with another dude in the back seat. Doesn't surprise me in the least. Rockstar Podcast. Did you hear Roseanne Barr recently made the claim that Donald Trump is the first woman president? God bless her. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to assume his pronouns. Yeah, I mean, first female president. Exactly. And if you criticize him, you're a sexist. Ozzy's robots. People running the GOP campaigns are shockingly inept. Oh, by God, I agree. In a painful way. Ashley, I like Trump's policies and I like Trump. I feel the same. Sparky, I heard it's been an unusually warm summer in Northern Europe this year. They don't usually need to cool things off with Christmas in July. Yeah, we've had a couple of heat waves. Today it's fairly warm, but it's doable. Ozzy's Robots. Wasn't Clinton the original cokehead president? I don't know. I don't know if he used coke. I think he was more into weed. Miku Huntu 4Xpod. Any part of you that has become more conservative now that you're a dad? I believe Darini said so on his channel, IRC. Same with Nick Merckx. No, my views have not changed in any demonstrable way. I guess I'm more pro-gun than ever, but that seems to be a yearly thing, so. Recreational McNukes coming soon. Orwell's Goon. Contrary to my brother in sticks, Sparky, Joe Biden's problem is his lack of awareness. Full stop, largely due to his oatmeal brain. I don't. It's not as nutritional as oatmeal. What's kicking around up there? Cam2425, hi, hey. There's something wrong with him. Understatement of the century. Yeah, probably. Awesome Diesel, sending $50. Thank you very much, Awesome. Hey, my mainstream of news is live. I give him 55 minutes and he gives me the world from RoboCop, I think. Hi, Sticks and Clankers. Well, hello to you too. King of Biltong, yeah. Good morning from Antons in Roanoke, Texas. Thanks to a clanker, Jeremy, for visiting us. Free shipping with code STICKS. Happy Sticks Saturday and happy weekend, everyone. Hashtag Clank Nation. Get your Biltong. You don't have to pay shipping if you know STYX. That's the promo code. Next news story, I'm sad to say, well, not really, but I'm being hyperbolic. Threads is dead. As predicted, basically before it even launched, Threads is fucked. Mark Zuckerberg has made a terrible, terrible mistake, sort of like the other dozen terrible mistakes he's made. Basically, all of his wins come from acquiring other companies like Snapchat or Instagram. On those, he does very well. When he tries to do anything himself, like, well, Facebook post 2009 or thereabouts, or the VR sort of thing that he was envisioning, he fucking fails. And that's why I knew that Threads would fail, and indeed it is. Traffic on Threads is now down by 20% since peak already. It has already peaked as a site. Why? Because the majority of people using it, as I analyzed for the last week, were Instagram users. They are already using a Meta service. They like Instagram. They like Meta, and so they're like, oh, I'll check it out. That does not mean long-lasting engagement. The engagement has already dropped off a goddamn cliff. It's been only a couple of weeks since it opened. In a couple of weeks, Mark Zuckerberg vampirized his own site, which is Instagram, the one of the most successful things he actually has. He vampirized that to try to offload Twitter, and he failed in such a spectacular manner that the offshoot site that he created is already dying. Nobody gives a goddamn shit about it. Now, this particular article, Mark Zuckerberg's Threads, the app is vapid, boring, and destined to fail, by Siva Vaidyanathan. I can't pronounce that. My apologies. It is a good thread that you should definitely read the story because it is pertinent. The idea is that Threads is so heavily sanitized that basically take Twitter, remove all the political content for the most part, remove all the controversial content, and then make it a bunch of hippie-trippy feeling shit. So people posting images, you can do it, you know, Positive Possum believes in you and shit like that. Well, I mean, if you want that, positive affirmations are also available on Instagram, which was the site that most of the Threads users were already fucking using. That's number one. They're also available on Twitter. Hell, you can go to 4chan and find happy-go-lucky threads. Hey, you know, you can do it and all this stuff. I am not interested in the goddamn least in Threads. It will die quicker than G+ died. At least Google+ kinda, sorta had a purpose. There was some design behind it. There was an attempt made. Meta's Threads is literally nothing more than a bootstrapped version of Twitter, arguably illegal because it may have used snippets of code from Twitter itself under people who were under NDA that formerly worked for Twitter, which is a legal query ongoing by Elon Musk, in order to peddle to a crowd that Zuckerberg already had as an audience. The problem is that you already had these people using one of your services. Now, I'll point out again, you do not fight for subscribers or people on an email list or anything like that on the internet. If you are a content creator, and there are many content creators that use Insta, et cetera, you don't compete for that. I don't compete with other people for subscribers on YouTube, because a person can subscribe to me and subscribe to someone I viscerally fucking hate. I compete for time usage. I compete for engagement. And engagement tends to lead to time usage. You know, when you reshare something on a site, other people see it potentially, and then they may be engaged with that content. Ultimately, it's about the time used by people on the internet. That's the only thing that you compete for. When you therefore make it one click and you can sign up to Threads from Insta, which you already control as a goddamn company, and 90% of the people on Threads are just Insta users that are testing it out anyway, that was a recipe for failure. And I predicted that it would fail days and days before, all the policy wonks that piled in to say, well, I think it's already peaking. It's doomed to fail. Like this article. Well, you should have seen the writing on the wall a week ago. It was obvious it was going to fail. It has. Threads is now down. Twitter has already re-outpaced it again. Meta's Threads at some point is going to be embarrassingly retired, or it's going to straggle on as a zombie service that just runs alongside Instagram. And there'll be a handful of people on there that have like a little community and they happen to like the format and they'll keep using it, just like G+. There were some people that continued to use it for an extended period of time, but it's not enough to support the existence of the site. Eventually it will be retired. It has absolutely died. Meta's Threads is a zombie site already. We'll see if it dies outright in the coming year or so. So another Sticks prediction, but it was such a no-brainer, it's not really a prediction now, is it? Not a bad account. Chances Biden will protect democracy again in 2024. He may not get the option of doing so. Orwell's Goon. Did you see Biden versus teleprompter when he said Ukraine is going to be the 32nd NATO, 33 or 3,000, 33 states of no, we've got NATO. No, I didn't actually. Although I'd like to get somebody send me, if you have a snippet of that fucking video clip, send it to me on Twitter DM. I'll put it in the video. Miku Huntu, 4X Pod, hang in there? No, not like that. Yeah. Sparky, it was Roger Clinton. Yes, Bill's late kid brother who had a coke problem. Bill sometimes hit the bottle too much, but not that bad. Hillary's an alcoholic. Yeah, Hillary Clinton is a booze master, and Bill Clinton smokes weed. There are worse things that you could be doing. Opinionated Junkie, gonna get my handgun license. Wish me luck. Good luck to you, although you shouldn't have to have a license in order to have a fucking gun. OMG puppies. Fission products are furiously unstable isotopes, half-lives of days or hours, billions of times more radioactive than radium. Shelter for a couple of weeks, and almost all will decay away. Yeah, like radioactive iodine. For a couple of weeks, you have to take, potassium iodide or iodine drops. And after that, it drops to near background levels. Its half-life is so short. But that's why it's so dangerous. If you do absorb it and you're not taking those supplements, you're in deep trouble because you'll probably end up with thyroid cancer. Patchy, morning. Did you hear the military is out of money? Yes, I've heard scuttlebutt with regarding that. Ozzy's Robots. Bought my wife, Christy, a new car for her birthday. She's watching the stream. She knows it's from a McLaren dealer, but has no idea what it is. It's driving her crazy waiting. I'll never tell. Ha ha ha. Torment. Nice on that. Oh, I accidentally closed out Rumble, I think. Whoops. I think I can get out there. Thank goodness. My apologies to the Rumble audience. Cam2425IA. If only those of you who donate to Sticks on YouTube knew he keeps all of it on Rumble. Yeah, Rumble does take a demonstrably smaller cut of the proceeds when you send in a super chat. Just saying, but I keep it open on all of these different sites. Yeah, it's for just for convenience sake for people. Next news story. We've got to talk about, yeah, another one of my tabs is gone. Just a second. Something happened here. Holy Christ. Yeah. Fuck you. There we go. Yeah, we got to talk about the Tucker Carlson event the other day. That's what I was going to miss out on, and it's big news. Here's my analysis with regards to the Tucker Carlson-led, not really debate, but almost like a pitch to the voters moment the other day. You had Ramaswamy, you had DeSantis, you had Nikki Haley, you had Asa Hutchinson, you had Tim Scott, you had what's his name, Mike Pence, what's his name, Mike Pence. You had a bunch of people there and other people speaking and announcing and so forth too. And it was basically, here's your pitch to the voters. Tucker Carlson asks you questions, you respond, and then you can sort of dovetail that in with your pitch. Two of the individuals there failed soundly. Their political careers are now officially over. Several of the individuals, they break even, and one really shone. Here's my analysis of it, having watched all of these people and the sound clips associated with them. I watched Tim Scott in full. I was unimpressed. I watched Pence in full. I was even less impressed. And then you have the various sound clips. And sometimes you can get a read about how the public has responded to something like this, assuming that there's no shenanigans going on, no propaganda, based on the clips that are going viral. Here's my read of it. Vivek Ramaswamy really shone. He did a good job. He has an 8. I'll give him an 8 out of 10 based on what I've seen from him. Vivek Ramaswamy was prepared. He was capable of being coherent, of, parlaying with Tucker Carlson. He was not evasive. He was willing to stick to his guns. I don't agree on all of the propositions that he makes, but he has principles. So Vivek Ramaswamy, I officially declare, is the winner of that particular round. Ron DeSantis breaks even. He did not make any massive mistakes. He was evasive at times, but he wasn't more evasive than he has been anyway, and politicians tend to do that. We'll fucking give him some slack. He breaks even. I don't think that it moves the metric in his favor or against him in any way. As far as Nikki Haley and Asa Hutchinson, I don't even care to bother rating them because they are effectively already dead in the water. Asa Hutchinson now is at 0 in most of the polls. Nikki Haley has technically a pulse, but when's the last time you heard anything from Nikki Haley? And what do you hear from her in this event? Well, it's basically a reiteration of everything that Asa Hutchinson says. So who gives a goddamn? The two people who really stand out, though, don't stand out for a good reason. They stand out for a bad reason. Tim Scott started off his entire pitch with, and I'm being literal here. I am not fucking with you and being figurative. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. Isn't it wonderful to be in a country where we can praise God? Oh, lordy, lordy. He was doing the evangelical shtick. He sounded crazier than... I'm trying to draw a fucking modern comparison. Santorum, maybe? He sounded like Rick Santorum. Praise God, praise Jesus. Oh, Jesus, the sweet American Jesus. What he sounded like. That and, hey, we've got to degrade the Russians and, defend Ukraine. How wonderful. It's really, really wonderful. But Tim Scott, despite the fact that basically his entire spiel was defend Ukraine, Jesus, Jesus, that may rankle me, but it won't rankle the average evangelical voter. So while it's definitely a detriment and his political career, as far as I'm concerned, is now over, that's perfectly fine. The real loser of the night, though, was Mike goddamn Pence. Mike Pence, who normally, in the rhetorical fashion, he's a little bit beyond median. He's normally relatively good at explaining himself, but he walked right into Tucker Carlson at the very beginning, like the first fucking thing that he does. What does he get questioned with? Well, says Tucker Carlson. And I'm not a super fan of Tucker Carlson. I'm not simping for him, but he did a good job. As a moderator here, he did a good job. He says, we've got rising crime in the inner cities. We've got a porous border. We've got a bunch of homeless veterans. We got all these problems, basically stateside within the United States, domestic issues. And, then you also have what's going on in Ukraine. And you're talking, and you, Mike Pence, are talking about Ukraine and cluster munitions and all this stuff. What would you say about these other issues that are of import to the people that actually have to fucking vote for you in order for you to get nominated? What did Mike Pence say? That's not on my priority list. My priority is Ukraine. Fuck the homeless veterans. Fuck the border. Fuck the poor people. Fuck the people in the United States. Mike Pence's campaign pledge at this point, if explicitly, is fuck you. That's his campaign pledge. Fuck yourself. No, we need to send more money over to Ukraine. The border, that can wait. The homeless, that can wait. Fentanyl crisis can wait. Crime can wait. All of the problems that you experience on a daily basis can wait because I'm single-mindedly fixated on Ukraine. He is done. He is unequivocally, objectively, absolutely goddamn completely fucking done. There is nothing at this point that Mike Pence can do with that one sound clip alone, just a couple short sentences, very, very terse. Not on my priority list. I'm fixated on Ukraine. There's nothing that he can do to revive his campaign. He should drop out today. He's got no chance. There is no chance for Mike Pence. It makes me happy because I would never want Mike Pence to be the president of the United States, although I think in a general he'd get his ass handed to him. But this bush monkey-looking retard should not even be running, honestly. He never had a chance to begin with. And then now I've never seen a candidate say something, I think, that's so goddamn stupid. I don't think that I've seen this before. There are plenty of candidates who have sunk their chances. Look at Ralph Northam, for example, saying in the eve of the election against Youngkin, etc., I think that I don't think there should be any limit on abortion. Yeah, a person should be able to have a post-birth abortion, basically. That's dumb. But you still, at least you managed to come within 10 points of your opponent, which is stupid, but you did. Congratulations to Ralph Northam. I have never seen a candidate say something so dumb. I couldn't believe it when I saw the clip at first. I was like, oh, this has to be AI. This has to be somebody's making a joke of some sort. I had to go into the actual Tucker Carlson link through the Blaze and watch it for myself, watch the Pence interview portion, and it was real. And I couldn't believe it. Like, what are you fucking talking about? The way in which, I mean, I know that his meaning was not, hey, the U.S. isn't my priority. I know that he was talking about Ukraine. He was trying to deflect off Tucker, because Tucker Carlson previously has called Mike Pence insane. Okay, there's a combative relationship, but you got blindsided, Mike. You got absolutely gobsmacked. This was far worse. This is 10 times worse than Christie's smackdown of Marco Rubio in the 2016 election. It's the most epic loss that I've ever seen for someone who otherwise has reasonable viability. You're in third place. You're distantly behind DeSantis, vying for second. But you're at 7 points. You don't have no pulse like Asa Hutchinson or some of these other people, Larry Elder. You do actually have a coalition. You have fundraising. And then you decided to insinuate that your priority is not the United States. Your priority is Ukraine. Let's see how that goes over in the GOP. His career is over, along with Tim Scott. DeSantis will continue on because he didn't do anything that was terrible. He didn't do anything that was, to his credit, he didn't do anything that was non-saleable. He had a mediocre performance, but, that's better than several of the others that were there. It was better. He was in the top half as far as that goes. With Tim Scott and Mike Pence combined, nobody else could fucking fail. Asa Hutchinson could have pulled down his pants and gone wee-wee and poo-poo on stage, and he still would have done better than Mike Pence. It was really that bad. Holy shit. Orwell's goon. Just at you on Biden's teleprompt via Twitter. Keep moving. Sent $10. No comment. Thank you very much. Ozzy's robots. It's no shock DeSantis is flailing with Bush people. Yeah, I know. DeSantis has some issues, but not as big as Tim Scott has. And certainly not as big as Mike Pence. He'll go to 0 probably in the next polling round. Kilroy was here. Hey, Stick, since you love 80s music, and I remember you saying you like 70s prog rock, you should listen to Marillion. They're an 80s prog band. Listen to their first album, Script for a Jester's Tear. I'll, just a sec. I'll check it out later. Thank you very much. I always like new music. Shaker Silver. Allegedly, Rupert Murdoch is giving up on DeSantis. Wants Glenn Youngkin as new anti-Trump. I have seen this report. Watch for Ron to be dogged by Fox, Moore, and a Glenn book deal. I do not believe that Youngkin will get in. I think that the ship has sailed, the field is too packed, and he would probably end up at about 10 points. And I think he knows this. Youngkin, I think, is more wise than DeSantis. I do not believe that he'll enter the race. I do agree. Murdoch does appear to be giving up on DeSantis while being team anti-Trump. He's got TDS, but he's just saying, and he's not wrong, DeSantis can't wing it. He just can't do it. Ozzy's robots. Tucker, cities are burning. Pence, not my problem. You gave the Democrats and your Republican challengers the ultimate self-owning soundbite that I have ever seen. It's like Howard Dean's scream doesn't even come fucking close to this. I can't think of another self-own that comes anywhere near this. This is bigger than Killing Big Bird or Binders Full of Women. It's bigger than Shovel Ready. It's bigger than Biden's gaffes. What the hell are you even doing in the race? Sparky, the Iron Sheik, RIP June 7, 2023. Yes, the Iron Sheik was very funny. Liked his Twitter account, although I heard tell that it wasn't actually him making many of those tweets. Sparky, Pence pretends to be Christian. Fake religiosity. Yes, I agree with you. Michael Greco, he sent $200. Thanks, man. Isn't the state actually more horizontal than vertical? Don't fellow slaves tend to keep each other in place due to propaganda rather than agents of the state? Think how many times you've been ostracized by fellow citizens for your beliefs compared to direct action by the state. That's not a bad point. It's like crabs in a bucket now, isn't it? Dragging each other back into the steaming water as it slowly heats up. Yeah, and keep in mind also that if you're being abused by the state, it is scant will it be the federal government directly doing it. If it's not a federal bureau, which was incepted by Congress, it's most often the state government. Many times it's local regulation or a housing authority. Some non-governmental group is the one abusing you. You're absolutely correct. And yes, it is effectively horizontal rather than vertical. The top is deliberately weak, although it's getting stronger over time, and that should probably fucking concern us more. Yes, local government, local groups, peer pressure. You know, you walk around without a mask at the wrong time, and all of a sudden people freak out. Well, the government didn't command them to freak out, although it commanded people to wear masks in certain circumstances. All of a sudden, you're treated like a pariah. I agree with you completely, Michael. Aussie's robots. At this point, give all of Ukraine to the Ruskies just to piss off the deep state and globaloids. I don't support that. I still stand with the people of Ukraine. I also stand with the people of Russia. None of these people should be suffering. Fuck war. It's a bunch of bullshit. Sparky, make Ukraine Russia again. Yeah, I think the Ukrainians would disagree. Christina, I DM'd you on Twitter the other day with a merch idea for you if you're interested. I did see your DM. I did not have time to get back to it. Let me know what you think. Hope your family is well. Clank. I'll get back to you probably later. If not, then hopefully tomorrow, because I got a lot on my plate today as far as work goes. Opinionated Junkie. Bernie did the same with Biden. Yeah, true. Next news story. Chris Christie on a Trump brawl. I'd kick his ass. Look at him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former New Jersey governor said jokingly. Yes, Chris Christie is threatening to drag Trump, who is 78 years old, into the octagon. And he's a totally serious candidate, as you can tell. He's very, very serious. If you Trump got in the ring, Morgan asked Thursday night, who would win? To Christie, the answer is obvious. The guy's 78 years old. I'd kick his ass. The 60-year-old former New Jersey governor responded. Trump is actually 77. So I didn't even know his age fully. Here's Chris Christie versus Donald Trump in the octagon. Chris Christie would probably have a stroke in the first 5 minutes. He is morbidly obese, and you know, Trump is overweight, but you know, there's a difference between their BMI, certainly. And this is after, by the way, Christie lost almost 100 pounds. To be clear, he was more rotund years ago. He's been battling with his excessive weight for a number of years, you will know. He would probably have a coronary. Nobody in the goddamn world takes Chris Christie's tough guy-ism seriously. The same as when he makes the mean tweets. He's trying to out-tweet Donald Trump by saying, well, I'm really going to take him out behind the woodshed. Oh, Yo Lil Donnie. I made a video about that a couple of days ago. He's literally devolved into Yo Lil Donnie posting. Nobody takes Christie seriously. Supposedly, the pecking order for the anti-Trump mafia goes this way. DeSantis is the heir apparent. He's the one that's going to stop him. But if he doesn't, there's always Tim Scott. And if Tim Scott can't do it, there's always Chris Christie. So a bunch of neocons, basically. DeSantis is fucked. While DeSantis is doing his best, the internal memo that I analyzed earlier shows his campaign is in disarray. When you have to take focus out of Super Tuesday states in order to focus just on a couple of the starting states in the hopes that you'll win them narrowly in order to justify continuing to campaign, that's pretty much the writing on the wall. It's the ultimate Hail Mary politically. I can get more into that in a standalone video. With Tim Scott, he torpedoed himself last night with Tucker Carlson. He was goddamn deranged. He didn't even apparently know where he was supposed to sit during the fucking goddamn conversation. He was prowling around on the stage like a televangelist. Chris Christie is goddamn nuts. His membrane must have fried years ago. Have you ever seen someone, other than Mike Pence, I suppose, torpedo themselves in such a spectacular fashion? Well, I would kick his ass in the ring. Nobody cares, Chris. You're 300 plus pounds. If Donald Trump managed to knock you over, you wouldn't even be able to get back up unassisted. The referee would have to pick you up for you. Nobody's taken in by that crap. And he's always, by the way, this is not just TDS. He's always done the tough guy New Jersey thing. Nobody's taken in by it, Chris. They may have found we found you briefly funny when you owned Marco Rubio over his robot moment. That was long ago. Since then, you have done absolutely nothing. Let's see. Kilroy was here. Continuing my last chat, listen to the 2020 remix of the album. The original mix, the vocals and guitar are a bit too quiet. Oh, I'll listen to both. Mojo Hansen, glad to see you. Sticks, clank, my bro. Clank to you too. Jolly Roger 183, greetings from Germany. 34 centigrade, 93 F here. Yeah, it's a little bit cooler here in the Netherlands at the moment, thankfully. By the way, please send no more super chats. I'm going to go through these last couple fairly quickly. Number one, ABC News was trying to own Trump, and they shouldn't have bothered trying. Trump's unprecedented campaign pitch, elect me to get revenge on the government. Now, this is a piece, if you read through it, about how Trump is scary, about how Trump is dangerous. Oh my God, he's going to try to rip the system apart. And we got to be really wary of this dude because he's sounding dictatorial or something. I think that the title of this is a major backfire, and that actually it is the Trump's pitch bullshit. This is ABC News's pitch to get Trump reelected. Trump's unprecedented campaign pitch: elect me to get revenge on the government. Who doesn't? Can you do any of you out there, left, right, center? Would you not, if given the opportunity? We're talking nonviolently. We're not talking about any crimes or anything like that. We're talking at the ballot box, not with the bullet box. Would you not want to get revenge on the goddamn government for all of it, the shit that it's done to you and your family and stuff? You know, one of your relatives, eminent domain, took the farm. One of your relatives got shot by the feds. You get taxed year over year excessively, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you get withheld welfare. Can you name a single person of any echelon, by the way, in society that wouldn't want to fuck the government in the ass? The government fucks them in the ass plenty. It's about time that they're a switch. We need to return the favor. This is effectively the ultimate pitch for Donald Trump. Yes, it's like taking a bundle of red hot nails and throwing them into the mouth of the hippopotamus that's trying to choke you, trying to eat you or something. Yeah, it's funny. Watching its tongue and its throat sizzle and watching the nails slowly fall through its flesh is amusing to people. We did this in 2016 to Great Huzzah, and it was a fun few years. It was hilarious until the China virus got out. Up until then, everything was going smoothly. There was no doubt in my mind Trump would be reelected until, you know, honk, honk, certain things happened of an epidemiological nature. Mikuhuntu Forex Bot, you can't tell me not to give you money. USA, USA. So yeah, as far as Trump's unprecedented campaign pitch, oh, I love it. That's exactly what I want. Thank you, ABC News. You know, I know you're neoliberal shills, but thank you for reiterating exactly why I should be supporting this man. Because it's like throwing a goddamn hand grenade into the functions of a deep state system, which is deeply unfair, doesn't represent me or my best interest, my family or my family's best interests, doesn't represent your best interests, doesn't represent the best interests of anyone other than bankers and corporatists and a bunch of military warmongers and globalists. That's it. Revenge on them? Why the fuck would I want that? Damn right. Thank you for reminding me why I definitely need to vote for Donald Trump. He has my vote. He doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't need to send me campaign emails. He can continue to do so. He already got my $100 donation, and he'll get my vote come the next election. I'll be voting for Trump unless he croaks. The only thing that can stop me from voting for Trump is if he doesn't exist anymore effectively at this point. And the final news story. It's about whether Trump and or Biden should debate. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the former president, finally have something in common after all, at least for the moment. And just a sec, there's somebody at the door. All right, everyone, my wife and child are back, so I'm going to have to end the stream. But just to reiterate on this particular story, as far as Trump and Biden needing to debate, they don't need to. That would be my feeling. They're too far ahead. It doesn't make any sense. However, I'm hoping for interest's sake, for entertainment's sake, I really hope that they do. I want Trump to take the stage against some of his GOP rivals, and watching Biden debate, especially against Marianne Williamson, the crystal hippie Wiccan grandma, that would be, honestly, I would stay up for it till 5 a.m. if that were to happen, because it would be so funny. So yeah, that is the live stream for the day. A little bit of an extra, of course, because the other day I couldn't get to it. I apologize. I think, did I not get to any super chats here? I think there's just one more. Sparky, Turkey and U.S. are the only two significant militaries in NATO. Other members just go through the motions. I think you'll find that France is a fairly spectacular military power, actually. They also have nuclear weapons, and the UK is no slouch either. So NATO does actually have power. It's just that the alliance keeps broadening, bringing us to the brink of potentially World War III. I think that's a problem. So I will go offline now. I will probably, I might do a couple of shorts actually later, because there's a bunch more news, but I have other things that I have to tend to. That's about all.